What's up, everyone? My name is Jesse. This is the Auditorium. If you're new, I like to react to video game music from games I've never played or heard of, in this case. And today I will be doing a Patreon birthday request for Cyrus. Happy birthday. This is Sora no Kiseki III, aka The Legend of Heroes, and their long titles. This is Masquerade of Lies. I really like song titles from video games. Have you guys noticed how badass they are? So I'm gonna try something a little different, and usually I talk during, say whatever thoughts come to mind. But since I've heard so much of this series in the past week, I kind of just want to just listen to it, and then have my thoughts at the end. So I kind of mix things up here a little bit, but I just kind of want to enjoy it, put my notes down, and see what happens. So let's go. Masquerade of Lies. Yeah. Ooh. Oh. Ooh. It's nice to just sit back and enjoy it every now and then, because although I do that every time, my brain is always kind of just firing off and thinking of stuff all the time. So I kind of wanted to just take a step back and just take it in. Very, very Castlevania vibes to me. Um, yeah, very much so. Even though I'm not too familiar with Castlevania, it's still one of those games that just has like its own distinct sound to it. So I've heard, I think, 5 or less songs from that series, Castlevania, and I still associate like a vibe to it, and to me that sounds kind of like this. There is a big emphasis on both guitars and keyboards, I noticed, in this series, at least this game. Those two are big, and the drums actually, so pretty much the whole band, and the bass, so I just ignore what I said. Because honestly, I just noticed everything has like its own place, and they're all done quite well. The bass in these games, they're all really amazing bass lines, but they're pretty low to hear. And that's kind of a bummer because they're actually like shredding back there. They're not just like riding the snare or the kick of the drums or even the rhythm guitars. They're just kind of like, but it's so hard to hear. It's kind of a bummer. Drums, of course, are going crazy, but the guitars are doing a lot of interesting things. For example, this is pretty much metal, you know, kind of thrashy. If you took away all the keyboard and stuff, it would just be what the guitar was doing the whole time. The rhythm guitar was these things, this thing called tremolo picking, where it's just literally alternating up down up down up down up down up down the whole time. And the funny thing about tremolo picking, even though it's extremely like metal and associated with metal like 90% of the time, it is also extremely surf rock. So just kind of as a side note, unrelated to this game, if you ever think about it, these two genres are completely like connected this way. So if you took just about any metal song, well, that's kind of a stretch, but if you took out a lot of metal techniques and then just took out the distortion of the guitar, it would sound like surf rock. And vice versa, if you took surf rock music and put distortion on it, it would sound like metal, in particular black metal. I always thought that was kind of interesting because every time I hear that kind of stuff now, and even when I'm playing it myself, it sounds... I also picture what it sounds like if it was like surf. For example, just another little side tangent. Listen to Miserlou from Dick Dale, aka the Pulp Fiction song, or the most famous surf rock song there is. And just imagine that as with distortion. There, you know, it probably exists on YouTube, to be honest. I'm sure someone has done it. But anyways, very guitar-centric. But one thing that I'm really impressed by in this series is the keyboard. Anything keys related, piano keys, synth chords, everything is done so with attention to detail. The leads are so impressive, and I've heard some of them where they bounce back between like guitar solos and not, and like I want to know who that is, like who's playing the keys here, because that to me might be the most impressive thing, because they're probably playing the organ as well. They just have different sounds on the keyboard. But the keyboard to me is kind of the takeaway star on Sora no Kiseki slash, you know, Legend of Heroes. Very, very impressive, very, very professional, and really cool stuff. They come up with some really unique, catchy stuff. Although, with that being said, I did just enjoy this series. I just got introduced to it, and I've dove a little bit into it, like 4 songs deep immediately, which is not normal on this channel, but it just happened to play out that way. So happy birthday, Cyrus, and thank you for showing me these. If you would like to do the same thing, you can do so on Patreon or PayPal, and you can donate there, and I'll guarantee check out your song if you don't mind waiting, and you can have a little musician's standpoint or opinion on these kind of things, or just maybe you just want me to show me a cool song and just jam out to it, which is more than okay. Neither are necessary, but the guarantee that I will check out your song. Just make sure it's a video game song or visual novels, because apparently that's a thing too. It's okay. And that's it. So again, happy birthday, Cyrus. Thank you for the request, and thank you for watching. My name is Jesse. This is the Auditorium. Take it easy.